of football, do you do any exercise? I hope you do. At least you should. Any sport is good to get fit. Running, hiking, swimming. Oh, but you must be consistent. Don't be that type of person who pays the gym fee and then doesn't show up for months. Oh, I have to do some push-ups. See you in a minute. Done. Let's talk about what we have to talk about. We use the verbs must and to have plus the preposition to when we express obligation, when we talk about things to do. You already know the verb must from when you learnt how to do a job interview, remember? You must appear confident, we said. We can use this verb in other contexts. For example, we must pay that fine. You must bring water. He must think of his future. As you see, the verb must works as an auxiliary verb. It is very easy to use and it doesn't change its form from singular to plural. We can also use to have to plus the main verb in infinitive without to when we talk about obligations. In this case, you need to remember that we use has in the third person singular, like this. You have to speak louder. She has to bring that report tomorrow. We have to lose some weight. In these examples, we clearly express obligation. Easy, isn't it? No big differences between must and have to in affirmative sentences. What about negative sentences? They express things that are not obligations. For example, imagine that you go to a spa and the manager says, you don't have to bring your own towels. He means that you have no obligation to bring your own towels because they will give you some there. Other examples. You're not overweight. You don't have to go on a diet. She doesn't have to arrive until 10 o'clock. You don't have to wait for me. On the other hand, when we use must in negative sentences, remember that the negative form of must is mustn't, the tone is different. If I say you don't have to come, I mean that it's not necessary for you to come, but it's your choice. If I say you mustn't come, I mean that that's a prohibition, not a choice. You just can't come. Much more direct, right? More examples. You mustn't smoke in a hospital. We mustn't tell him. He mustn't be late. In conclusion, must and have to have similar meanings in affirmative sentences, but not so much in negative sentences. Speaking of obligation, we need to talk about should and shouldn't. In English, we use the auxiliary verb should to give advice, recommendations, or opinions. It's the same form in singular and plural, and it goes before a verb in infinitive without to, just like must. For example, you should watch TV shows in English. It's a recommendation from me to you. I recommend watching TV shows in English because it will be good for you. More examples. You should meet other people. You should see a doctor. The gym should open on Sundays. As I said, these are recommendations and opinions. Let's see how it works in negative sentences. She shouldn't eat so much pizza. You shouldn't talk like that. We shouldn't leave the children alone. By the way, notice how I pronounce should and shouldn't. The L is silent. Should, shouldn't. And you already know the sh sound. Easier to pronounce than to write.
Hey Natalie, you should finish this lesson now. We should move on. Should I stay or should I go? Oops, sorry, I must go.
Got it, got it. See you in a minute.
There's a very peculiar English expression to say that you're not feeling well physically. To be under the weather. For example, are you all right? Not really, I've caught a cold and I'm feeling a bit under the weather. And there is another expression to say that you're feeling well. To be fit as a fiddle. A fiddle is a violin, by the way. For example, are you feeling well today? Yes, I've been on holiday and I'm fit as a fiddle. Why a fiddle and not a trumpet? Don't ask me, I'm just a messenger.